Hi everyone, it's Tom here from the WB Trading Team. Today on this video, what I want to cover is how do we develop and refine a mechanical strategy. Now this is a question we get from quite a few of the traders that join us on our course, and actually some of the traders that we're mentoring at the moment have learned all of our strategies, they're profitable, some of them have funded accounts, and now they're looking to branch out and find their own mechanical strategies, which is excellent, it's great to see that. But we often do get questions from traders, how do I even start looking for a strategy? How long does it take? What's the work involved? How do I know when I have a suitable strategy? Now we covered a little bit of this I think in our previous video, which was on backtesting and how we approach that. And that forms a big part of understanding how we find a mechanical strategy. But there are a few other things, and I wanted to cover the first steps on this video, really go into just basically where do we begin. We'll cover kind of a general rule that I follow. I'll show you some examples. We'll run through the basics of understanding how we find and develop a mechanical strategy. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have an idea of how mechanical trading works, how you can find your own strategies, and certainly if there's anything we can help with, absolutely just jump and book on a call with us. So yeah, with that being said, guys, let's get started. Just very quickly before we dive in, if you're still struggling with your trading, or you'd like to know more about how mechanical edges are traded, I've put together a free video course for you that will map out and explain everything in detail, along with walking you through exactly how the mechanical rules actually work. If you'd like to watch that after this video, I'll pop a link in the description. You can click through and you can watch that straight away. So, what is the first step we need to take when we're starting to look and find a mechanical strategy? Well, with mechanical trading, we need to understand that our edge, which is where we find this advantage over the market, needs to be based on really concrete data. And as we talked about in our previous video on backtesting, we need to do that rigorously. That's not all though, obviously, because firstly we need to understand what we're backtesting. What rules do we have in place? And this is where a bit of experience certainly comes in and it helps, but observation is really the key as well, the very first stage. Even when I'm trading, on a day-to-day basis, I've got a small notebook next to me. I jot down any ideas, any observations that I see, just things that I pay attention to, things that catch my eye. Even when I'm backtesting, when I'm reviewing my journal, always good to write down anything that you see and anything that you notice. And that's really where we start with. So once we have maybe an observation, maybe an idea percolating there, we're going to then start to look through and understand, can we test this? How do we approach putting an idea into a set of rules? So once we have this general idea that's formed, what we're going to do now is test it. We're going to come up with an initial set of rules. So for example, you may have noticed that one market returns to a certain area on a particular time frame. We're going to jot down the conditions that we're testing, the market that we're testing, and we're going to basically do a back test. We're going to go through, scan the market, check to see if, are we seeing this pattern basically developing multiple times? Is it something we've just noticed a couple of times that really doesn't have any consistency? And the only way to do that in detail is to do this initial back test. Now, I know we covered back testing on a previous video. I'd recommend going back to have a look at that if you didn't see our back testing video. What we can do there is understand over a fairly long period, and I tend to say to traders, if we're doing, say, an intraday strategy or even a long-term strategy, we're probably looking for a minimum of 100 trades in this back test. That gives us a good chance to remove any anomalies, look through and see, are we getting this consistent pattern here, which is the key to what we're looking at with anything related to mechanical trading. That isn't the end of it though, certainly. Once we get through the initial back test, we've probably got quite a few questions and quite a few other areas to check. As we're doing a back test, as I mentioned, we want to be noting down things we observe. Maybe our initial set of rules need to be adjusted. Once we have those first 100 trades done, we can then start to tweak things. We can start to say, okay, can we make our profit target wider? Is our stop loss too wide? Is it, are we losing R as a result of that? Can we only take trades on certain days? Is that going to improve our profitability? Once we have that initial set of data, that allows us to really dig down and find the factors and find the adjustments that we need to increase profitability. And you may need to go through and do a second back test. You may even need to say, okay, actually, this is working quite well on X market, but I'm going to try it on Y market. I'm going to move it to another market. all these things we can do, and all these things really come down to rigorously testing. That should be the key, really, to any trading edge, but certainly to a mechanical trading edge. It's not a super quick process, a few hours for a back test and then reviewing, maybe spend another couple of hours doing another version. In the long run, it's certainly worth the time, absolutely, but don't think you're going to be able to get this done in a few minutes. So what happens when we have a set of positive results from this backtest? And also, what really constitutes a positive backtest? Are we aiming for a particular target? I mean, these are questions that I hear from traders all the time who are looking for their own mechanical strategies. And, they are really valid questions. In terms of the profit target, there isn't really a key answer there, certainly. There isn't a specific annual R that we're looking for that means anything above that, brilliant, anything less than that, we scrap the whole test. I tend to say traders is a very good balance. An average of 1 hour a week over their test is a good place to start, and you can certainly press on from there. Once we have a good set of results, so that isn't it. That's not a case of, right, let's jump in and start trading. I know traders that do that, and some of them have had great success with it, but I want to try a forward test next. Now, when we say a forward test, what we actually mean is just basically live demo trading. A back test is easy because there's no time pressure on you. You're finding the entries without having to worry about what the market's doing while it's live. So it gives you a really good idea of the results, but it's not a perfect picture. And there's going to be little human errors that come in when you're actually live trading that we don't see in a back test. So important then that we do a forward test. Now, again, it sounds like it's time consuming, but I tend to look for a forward test at least a quarter of the year, another 3 months to really check it and go through. See if, firstly, does it back up what the back test was telling us? And also, is this something that you could feasibly trade? Or is it something that's too difficult to do while you're live trading? Or you may have to go back to the drawing board a little bit and adjust some of those parameters just to make it easier for yourself to live trade. That's the next step, really. And I know it sounds like, more work before we can actually get into something, but you want to make absolutely sure. We've done tests here at WB Trading over some of our strategies that have took a couple of years, and they've been dead ends at the end of it. We just haven't found an improvement on an existing strategy, even though we've tested various different parameters. So you're not going to get a winning strategy with every test you do here. It's important to get those tests done, though, and get that experience. Once we've done that, and once we've done our forward test for, like I said, at least 3 months, the results are consistent with the back test. We've even maybe identified a few areas that we can improve, noted some things out while we're technically live trading it. Again, coming back to that idea of keeping notes and sort of writing down any observations you see, it's going to help you so much in the long run. At that stage, that will be the point that I will be comfortable to say, okay, I think we could start trading this. And obviously, like any strategy, good to start out with that small account size. Just get used to the strategy, make sure there isn't anything else there that's cropping up. And as with all of our mechanical strategies, regularly reviewing the performance, sitting down. We tell our traders to sit down every month, maybe even 3 months if you're not taking that many trades. Go through the results, see if there's anything that we can notice, anything that we're doing well, anything that we're not doing well. And yeah, it's always that constant improvement. Even once you've got the strategy rules fairly well optimized, there are always little things that you can notice. And again, that observation is absolutely key. But that is basically the setup to going from a basic idea to fairly rigorous testing to live trading. It's a simple process when I lay it out like that, but it does take time. You've got to be able to commit the time to it, but obviously in the long run, it massively pays off. That's something you've really got to keep in mind, absolutely. And each back test and each forward test just becomes easier with practice as well. So that's it really, guys. That's the basics of going through and finding a mechanical strategy. It's a technical process, absolutely. It's not something that you can just sit down on an afternoon and go, right, I might as well start this. It takes a little bit of planning, but with planning and with a bit of discipline and with some time, you're going to see some amazing results. Now, if you'd like to find out more, if you'd like to understand more about mechanical trading, how we found our edges, how they work, obviously just book a call in with one of the team below. It'd be great to hear from you. And it'll also be good to hear in the comments, if you've gone through and done any of your own back testing, adapted any of your own strategies as well. With that being said, guys, though, thank you very much for your time and watching. Hopefully that's been quite useful. And yeah, I'll see you on the next video.